This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardinis, to use this on educational materials. Hi guys, hi sir. So we are the group 4 and our topic is all about the temporary global governance with integration of COVID-19. Members, Ayunal Permijo, Jadel Bosmayon, John Lee Conhi, Kim Gialo Pitugo, Kyle Mahait, Mac Jerome Cañete, and Juan Crits D. Jan. What is global governance with the integration of COVID-19? Global governance refers to the way in which international affairs and global issues are managed and regulated through cooperation and coordination among nations, international organizations, and other actors in the global system. It encompasses the rules, norms, and institutions that govern interactions and address common challenges at the global level. The COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted the importance of global governance in addressing transnational threats and crises. Here are some 7 case points related to global governance and its integration with COVID-19. International organizations. Organizations such as the World Health Organization, WHO, play a crucial role in global governance when it comes to health crises like COVID-19. Second, multilateralism. The pandemic has underscored the need for countries to work together through multilateral mechanisms to combat global challenges. Third one, vaccine distributions. The equitable distributions of COVID-19 vaccines worldwide has become a focal point for discussions on global governance. Travel and trade. Global governance has also come into play in managing international travel and trade during the pandemic. The fifth one, policy coordination. Nations have had to coordinate their policies on issues such as border controls, quarantine measures, and public health guidelines to respond effectively to the pandemic. Challenge and disparities. The pandemic has exposed disparities in healthcare infrastructure and access to resources among nations. Information sharing. Timely and accurate information sharing among countries is essential for managing a global health crisis. Global governance mechanisms facilitate the exchange of critical data and scientific research. In summary, global governance involves the collaboration of nations and international organizations to address global challenges like the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has highlighted both the importance of effective global governance and the need for improvements in areas such as equity in vaccine distribution and healthcare infrastructure. It serves as a reminder of the interconnectedness of the world and the necessity of working together to solve shared problems. And that's all. Thank you.
Or the connecting of nations via trade, travel, and communication has long been an important aspect of the modern world. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2019, however, brought previously unheard of difficulties for governments all around the world, highlighting both the advantages and risks of globalization. Governments have been significantly impacted by globalization in the context of COVID-19 pandemic. These are: first, the challenges in coordination. To implement policies like travel limits, quarantine procedures, and data sharing, governments have to work with other countries, which occasionally cause decision-making delays. The second one, economic interdependence. The danger of this interdependence had brought to light when lockdowns and disruptions made it difficult for governments to secure goods and medical supplies that were critical. The third one, vaccine distribution. Governments had to negotiate and compete for vaccine supplies, leading to diplomatic tensions. Ensuring equitable vaccine distribution both nationally and internationally became a significant challenge. Information flow. Governments had to control not only reliable information from health organizations but also rumors and false information that can affect the public's perception of government actions and conduct. Travel restrictions. Governments had to implement travel restrictions, border controls, and quarantine measures to contain the virus spread. These measures had a significant impact on the travel and tourism industries. Healthcare systems. Some countries with open healthcare systems found themselves treating patients from abroad, adding complexity to their pandemic response. It underscored the importance of robust healthcare infrastructure and the need for clear policies in such scenarios. In conclusion, globalization posed both difficulties and opportunities for government responses to COVID-19. It emphasized the necessity of international cooperation while also highlighting the value of national sovereignty in crisis management. Global reactions to the ongoing pandemic and upcoming global crisis are still shaped by
institutions that govern international relations. The United Nations plays a central role in international governance by promoting peace, security, and cooperation among nations. The primary role of the United Nations in global economic governance is as a political forum for dialogue concerning the major issues on the global economic agenda and as an integrator of different perspectives on the economic, social, and environmental pillars of sustainable development. The World Trade Organization is responsible for regulating international trade and resolving disputes between member countries. The overall objective of the World Trade Organization is to help each member use trade as a means to raise living standards, create jobs. The World Trade Organization operates the global system of trade rules and helps developing countries build their trade capacity. It also provides a forum for each member to negotiate trade agreements and to resolve the trade problems they face with each other. The International Monetary Fund works to promote international monetary cooperation and exchange rate stability. The IMF focuses on macroeconomic and financial stability. The IMF works to achieve sustainable growth and prosperity for all of its 190 member countries. It does by supporting economic policies that promote financial stability and monetary cooperation, which are essential to increase productivity, job, and economic well-being.
Good day everyone, my name is Kunhi Jan Lisi and this is my report. The World Bank Group or WBG provides financial assistance and advice on developing countries to promote economic growth. The World Bank is an international development organization owned by 187 countries. Its role is to reduce poverty by lending money to the government of its proper members to improve their economies and to improve the standard of their living people. The World Bank is one of the world's largest sources of funding and knowledge for developing countries. Its five institutions share a commitment to reduce poverty, increasing shared prosperity, and promoting sustainable development. The World Bank provides financing, advice, and other resources to developing countries in the areas of education, public safety, health, and other areas of need. Open nations, organizations, and other institutions partner with the World Bank to sponsor development projects. The World Health Organization is WHO is responsible for promoting international public health and coordinating global health efforts. World Health Organization founded in 1948, the World Health Organization or WHO is the United Nations agency dedicated to global health and safety. The organization connects nations, partners and communities to promote health and serve the vulnerable. What is the mission and vision of the World Health Organization? These values are inspired by the whole vision of a world in which all peoples attain the highest possible level of health, and our mission to promote health, keep the world safe, and serve the vulnerable with measurable impact for people. What is the role of World Health Organization in the preventing and control of the communicable disease? We provide leadership and evidence base for international action on surveillance, prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and care of communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases, and mental health conditions. What is the role of the World Health Organization WHO in nutrition? The World Health Organization or WHO envisage a world free from all forms of malnutrition where all people achieve health and well-being. Action should be target the various causes of malnutrition to achieve sustainable change, which requires a comprehensive and multi-sectoral approach. The International Atomic Energy Agency or AIEE is responsible for promoting the safe and peaceful use of nuclear energy and technology. What does International Atomic Energy do? The AIEA strengthens the global nuclear safety and security framework. It identifies and promotes the best practices and safety standards and implements programs to assist states in applying these standards. The AIEA is also a key player in the effort to prevent nuclear terrorism. What is the purpose of the Atomic Energy Commission? Almost a year after World War II ended, Congress established the United States Atomic Energy Commission to foster and control the peacetime
Good day, everyone. My name is Dec Cadet Mac Jom Cañete, and I'm going to differentiate internationalism from globalism. Internationalism and globalism are two different approaches to how countries interact with each other on a global scale. Internationalism is like having good relationship with other countries, but each country still mainly takes care of its own problem. It is also believes in cooperation and collaboration among nations to address global challenges while respecting each other's nation's sovereignty. It emphasizes the importance of international organizations such as United Nations and diplomacy to promote peace, security, and cooperation among countries. Internationalists support the idea that nations should work together through diplomacy, treaties, and international institutions to solve common problems such as climate change, poverty, and conflict. An example of internationalism is our countries cooperate on issues like trade and security, but they make their own decisions and protect their own interests first. Globalism is like believing that the world should work together as one big community and countries should share their power and resources more evenly. Globalism is a broader and more interconnected worldview that emphasizes the interdependence of nations and the diminishing significance of borders and national boundaries. It goes beyond the international cooperation and embraces the idea of a global community where economic, cultural, and political integration transcends and traditional national identities. Globalists advocate for policies that promote globalization, including free trade, open borders, and the free flow of information, goods, and capital across borders. An example of globalism is globalists think that countries should work closely together on many issues like climate change or human rights, and that global organizations should have more authority to make decisions that affect everyone. Conclusion. Internationalism focuses on cooperation between nations while respecting their sovereignty, often through international organizations. Globalism, on the other hand, envisions a world that is increasingly interconnected and interdependent. That is all. Thank you.
The main objective of the United Nations is to maintain peace and promote international cooperation. Its key roles include ensuring global peace and security, protecting human rights, providing humanitarian aid, supporting development, addressing environmental issues, upholding international law, facilitating diplomacy, and operating the Security Council for critical decisions on peace and security. In relation to this, the United Nations has been critical in tackling the COVID-19 epidemic and its far-reaching consequences for world health economics and society. The UN has three essential tasks and duties in context of COVID-19 integration. Number 1. Global health coordination and response. Pandemic coordination in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The United Nations act as a major platform for international coordination and collaboration. It promotes information sharing, the promotion of the best practices, and the mobilization of resources among member countries. Leading role of WHO, or as we call the World Health Organization. A UN specialized agency is key to the worldwide response to COVID-19, providing technical guidance, expertise, and coordination. It tracks the spread of the pandemic, makes suggestions, and assists countries with their healthcare and public initiatives. Promoting equitable access to vaccine. The UN aims to provide equitable access to COVID-19 vaccinations, particularly for low and middle income countries through programs like COVAX, which is led by WHO. To fight vaccine nationalism, it calls for equitable vaccination distribution. Number 2. Assistance and support. Mitigating socioeconomic impacts, COVID-19 has had serious socioeconomic implications all around the world. The UN offers humanitarian assistance and assists nations in dealing with the economic consequences of the epidemic, such as poverty reduction and economic recovery. Protection of vulnerable populations. UN organizations such as UNICEF and UNHCR are focusing on the well-being of vulnerable populations such as refugees, internally displaced people, and children who have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic. They offer important services such as healthcare, education, and security. Mental health and well-being. Recognizing the pandemic's mental health concerns, the UN supports mental health programs and awareness campaigns to assist persons in coping with stress and anxiety and other mental health issues resulting from the crisis. Number 3. Advocacy and information dissemination. Public health messaging to distribute correct regarding for COVID-19. The UN uses its communication networks and expertise to counteract the virus transmission. It encourages public health measures like using a mask, social isolation, and immunization. Countering information. The UN aims to counteract damaging COVID-19 related misinformation and deception It promotes ethical media reporting, fact checking, and activities to guarantee that the public receives correct information. Advocating for global solidarity. The United Nations underlines the significance of global unity in dealing with the pandemic. It encourages governments to collaborate, exchange resources, and work together to guarantee a worldwide response to COVID 19. These roles and functions emphasize the UN's essential role in combating the COVID 19 pandemic, stressing coordination, humanitarian assistance, and the distribution of reliable information to combat the virus and its numerous consequences.
I'm the cadet Usman Jadilji, and I'm here to report about the challenges of governance globally on the 21st century. So, with the intensification of globalization dynamics, risks to the stability of the international system have grown to the extent that formerly localized threats are no longer locally containable. So, ethnic conflicts, infectious diseases, climate change, food security, and other pressing threats are increasingly threatening global security and stability, prompting doubts about the ability of the current global governance order to respond to the challenges plaguing the 21st century. So first, we'll talk about the first problem, which is the ethnic conflict. So ethnic conflicts, it is a form of conflict in which the objectives of at least one party are defined in ethnic terms, and the conflict, its antecedents, and possible solutions are perceived along ethnic lines. The conflict is usually not about ethnic differences themselves, but over political, economic, social, cultural, or territorial matters. So, an ethnic conflict is a conflict between two or more ethnic groups. While the source of the conflict may be political, social, or economic, the individuals in conflict must expressly fight for their ethnic group position within society. This criterion differentiates ethnic conflict from other forms of struggle. It is argued that rebel movements are more likely to organize around ethnicity because ethnic groups are more apt to be aggrieved, better able to mobilize, and more likely to face difficult bargaining challenges compared to other groups. So the causes of ethnic conflict are debated by political scientists and sociologists. Next, we will talk about the next problem, which is the infectious diseases. So infectious diseases, it is our disorders caused by organisms such as bacteria, viruses, fungi, or parasites. Many organisms live in and on our bodies. They're normally harmless or even helpful, but under certain conditions, some organisms may cause disease. Some infectious diseases can be passed from person to person. Some are transmitted by insects or other animals, and you may get others by consuming contaminated food or water or being exposed to organisms in the environment. So signs and symptoms vary depending on the organisms causing the infection, but often include fever and fatigue. Mild infections may respond to rest and home remedies, while some life-threatening infections may need hospitalization. Next is climate change. So climate change, it refers to a long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns, such as such shifts can be natural due to changes in the sun's activity or large volcanic eruptions. But since the 1800s, human activities have been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like oil and gas. So, climate change, it is the changes observed in Earth's climate since the mid on 20th century. It is driven by human activities, particularly fossil fuel burning, which increases heat trapping greenhouse gas levels in Earth's atmosphere, raising Earth's average surface temperature temperature, and artificial processes which have been overwhelmed by human activities can also contribute to climate change, including the internal variability. And last is the food insecurity. So the USDA defines food insecurity as lack of consistent access to enough food for every person in a household to live an active, healthy life. This can be temporary situation for a family or can last a long time. Food insecurity is one way we measure how many people can't afford food. A person is food insecure when they lack regular access to enough safe food and nutritious food for normal growth and development and an active and healthy life. This may be the inability of food and for lack of requirements to obtain food.
Good day everyone, I am Dick Cadet Itogo Kimjilo and I am here to explain the relevance of the state amid globalization. Globe with interconnected lines symbolizing globalization, as you can see in the image or picture. This is the example of globalization. So, what is globalization? Globalization is the process of increased interconnectedness and interdependence among nations in various aspects of life. Globalization is a term used to describe how trade and technology have made the world into a more connected and interdependent place. So, this image represents trade, communication, culture, and finance. So, in globalization, there are key drivers. So, there are 4 factors in driving globalization. So, first is technology. Technology is a term that includes any communication device encompassing radio, television, cell phones, computer and network hardware, satellite systems, and so on, as well as the various services and appliances with them, such as video conferencing and distance learning. So second is trade liberalization, is a removal or reduction of restrictions or barriers on the free exchange of goods between nations. So these obstacles include tariffs like levies and surcharges, as well as non-tariff obstacles like quotas and licensing requirements. The removal or relaxation of these barriers is frequently seen by economists as a step toward promoting free trade. So next is cultural exchange. Cultural exchange is sharing different ideas, traditions, and knowledge with someone who may be coming from a completely different background than your own. So in cultural exchange, it's necessary to understand how cultures differ, especially whether you're working, residing, volunteering, or engaging with individuals from other countries other than your own. So the fourth one is economic integration. Is the unification of economic policies between different states through the partial or full abolition of tariff and non-tariff restriction on trade. So economic integration. So the impact of economic integration on stimulating trade are component of the modern economic theory of the second best, which holds the free trade with no restrictions on competition and no trade barriers is always the best choice. Economic integration has been viewed as the second best choice for international trade when hurdles to complete free trade exist, despite the fact that free trade is regarded as an idealistic alternative and is realized in some industrialized countries. So these images or pictures represent the drivers of globalization, shape technology like gadgets, with access internet, and the others is transportation. So in conclusion, the state's enduring relevance in a globalized world is undeniable. As we explored, its role has evolved to encompass significant global responsibilities. However, the key challenge lies in effectively balancing national interest with the imperative of global cooperation. This delicate equilibrium is essential for shaping a harmonious and prosperous future in an interconnected world.